Hello everyone, my name is Dalton and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my November wrap-up and my December TBR. And I don't really know what's gotten into me in the month of October and November, but this again is like one of my best reading months ever. I believe I read 9 or 10 books, I don't really remember off the top of my head, but I read a lot, so hopefully in December I have a lot of vacation time. I can keep up the reading momentum. I'm already caught up to my reading challenge and that sort of thing, and I'm already ahead a little bit just by like one book or so. But without further ado, let's get into the books that I managed to read in the month of November. The first book that I picked up and finished was actually one that I started in October, and that was Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Overall, I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed Gone Girl. If you don't know, this is basically following a reporter from Chicago who goes back to her hometown, I believe in Mississippi, don't quote me on that, as there's these children that are being murdered and all of their teeth are being pulled out. And basically she has to cover the story. But while she's in her hometown, she has to deal with her mother, who she doesn't have a great relationship with. And it just brings up a lot of the past and bad memories and that sort of thing. I did thoroughly enjoy this compared to Gone Girl. I think I gave this 3 stars, maybe 2.5 out of 5 stars. Compared to Gone Girl, I really enjoyed it. However, I still did not love it. Even though it is kind of a short read, it's only like 250 pages, I want to say. This book took me like a week and a half to read just because I wasn't really involved in the story. And I did like the main character, but like I just didn't really care what happened. I also saw the ending coming. I predicted everything. So it really just wasn't for me. But after that, I also finished The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. Again, I picked this book up in October as well and just finished it in the month of November. 5 stars instantly. This is my 3rd time reading this novel, I believe, and I loved it. I listened along to the audiobook. Didn't love the narrator's voice, but loved the story, so I was enthralled the entire time. You can't really read The Girl Who Played with Fire and not pick up the next book directly after, because it does kind of leave on a huge cliffhanger. So I then picked up The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. Obviously, I gave this book 5 stars as well. This is actually probably my favorite novel out of the entire series. I do love the first book, but I think this one is the best in my opinion. 5 stars, loved every second of it. I read this book in like 2 or 3 days. That's how like engrossed I was. Listened to the audiobook again for this one as well. Thoroughly enjoyed it though. Then I managed to pick up The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. If you don't know, you're basically following 2 twin sisters. One of them who, they are both of mixed descent. They're both black. However, they both have very pale skin. And basically you follow these twins as their lives lead them in 2 very different directions. One of them decides to live their lives as a white passing person, while the other one does not, and ends up moving back to their hometown. It then ends up following their daughters as they accidentally meet each other. And slowly the history between these 2 sisters are revealed, and it was good. I will say I did have a little bit of an issue going in. I just thought the beginning was a little slower than I would have liked it to, but once I got past like the first 100 pages, I thought the book flew by and I loved the writing. So after that, I picked up The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I started rereading this because the second book just came out at the beginning of the month, and I just wanted to have the story fresh in my mind before I picked up the second book. It has been quite a while since I've read this. Also, I think I picked it up in 2020 when it came out, I believe. But I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars again. This is probably my favorite N.K. Jemisin novel, which I do know is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. This next book kind of came as a surprise to me. I read The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, and I was not expecting to enjoy this because it is like a historical fiction / romance novel. But I love this book. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars because I did have some issues with the ending. But basically, you follow this young girl as her dad decides to move their family to Alaska after inheriting um, a piece of land from one of his like friends who was in the Vietnam War with him. And basically, we just watch this family struggle to survive in the Alaskan wilderness where they literally have nothing and have to do everything by themselves. All the while, her dad suffers from like severe PTSD, basically thinks that the government's going to revolt against citizens and that sort of thing, and the world's going to end. Definitely a doomsday prepper. He's also abusive. This story was fabulous. Like I said, I really went into this with super low expectations because I knew it was romance, I knew it was historical fiction, neither of which are my favorite two genres, but I love this novel. I have a couple more of her books and I can't wait to read them whenever I have a chance to do so. But yes, this book really took me by surprise. The next book also kind of took me by surprise, but not for the right reasons. I then picked up Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And I really, really enjoyed the first like 50 or so pages. Maybe like, I'll give it the first 100. However, then the story, like, I don't even know how to describe this story because literally nothing happens. The pacing is all over the place for this novel. So, the first half of the novel, you basically follow Laszlo Strange as he dreams about and envisions the city of Weep, which is a city that has been wiped from the memory of all people, except for Laszlo remembers the day that this happens and the feeling that losing the city's name, he remembers that feeling. So he's kind of just entranced and like focused on trying to find this lost city until one day the people from this lost city show up and just like invite other people from his city to try to help solve a problem. However, then like they go on that journey, which the pacing is weird throughout that entire thing because not a whole lot happens and they don't really tell you anything about what happened to the city of Weep until you actually get there, which is like 200 pages or so in. And then almost directly after they get into the city of Weep, we basically just like get a YA romance and it's awful. Not that I dislike either like love interest because we do get the other love interest, like her perspective on things. I think she's very interesting and I think who they are is very interesting. I just like didn't care at all about anything that happened to these two characters. I didn't care about the love interest, like the main love. I don't know. It was beautifully written. I will say this novel was beautifully written. It was just very boring to me and not a lot happened. The pacing was all over the place. Overall, it just was not my favorite book. I do already own the second novel, so I will probably read it. But I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. And honestly, I don't even know if it deserved 2 stars. It was just weird for me. It was just weird. And after that, I reread another novel, and that is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I mainly reread this because I wanted to read the second novel in this series, and I just wasn't sure that I remembered the world as well as I wanted to, because there is a lot of nuances with the magic system and the caste system that Winter creates in this novel. So I reread this, I listened to the audiobook, it took me like a day and a half, it wasn't super long, and I love this novel. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars the last time I read it, and I stuck with that rating still the second time. The only issue, I do get frustrated with the main character just because he is so set in his way about getting revenge and that sort of thing, and it does become frustrating. But besides that, I love this novel. Then directly after that, I picked up the second one, The Fires of Vengeance. I love this book as well. Honestly, I believe that Evan Winter is going to become one of my auto-buy authors. Anything he comes out with from this series or otherwise, I think I'm going to pick up regardless, just because I do love his writing. These books are so action-packed and so filled with emotion and pain and suffering and love and happiness all at the same time. It's incredible what he does with this series. The world building only expands in this novel as we travel from different cities, and we see like the main city of this like country and that sort of thing. We also get more about the history of these people and that sort of thing. This book was great. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars as well. I have no clue when the next book is coming out, but I am so excited to read it. And then the last book that I managed to finish this month is Fence. I finished like the 6th or 5th graphic novel. I'll throw a picture up on the screen. It was good. I'm really ready for these characters to start falling in love, just because I thought it was more of a romantic type thing. As of right now, it's just very heavy on the fencing, which is fine because I do understand that the story is called Fence, but I do wish there was a little bit more romance in them. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars, which I think is what I've given all of them. They're all right. They're not the best graphic novel or novels or anything that I've ever read, but I do thoroughly enjoy them. Then the next couple books I have started, but I have yet to finish. I am pre-filming a few days early, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to get these finished. So they are technically going to be on my November wrap-up, but this is also the beginning of the December TBR, just because I don't know when I'll have time to finish them. Probably not until the weekend, which is the start of December, but we'll see. The first book that I've already started is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I'm not very far into this. I'm only like 30 pages or so. So far, it's great. The first chapter is insane. Not spoilers or anything, but the first chapter, he basically is forced by his mother to stare up at the sun. So he becomes blinded, and then he gets his eyes sewn shut by her, and then she commits suicide. All in like the first 12 pages or so. It was a lot, but like I said, I am enjoying this so far. I'm not very far into it, so I can't really say what like rating or anything I'll probably end up giving this, but I'm excited to continue and see how this story progresses. The next book that I plan on reading, hopefully before November ends, but I don't know if I'll have time, is The World We Make, the second book in the City We Became trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I started this novel, also not very far into it, only like 30 or 40 pages, something like that. So far, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It starts out insane, like I expect most N.K. Jemisin novels to do. But yeah, hopefully I'm able to finish this before December. If not, I'll finish it in the first week of December or so. But so far, thoroughly enjoying. Would love to continue reading. Hopefully I get it finished soon. Now, the rest of these I have not started, and just because I have been doing so well and I did read like 9 or 10 books last month, I'm going to try to push myself a lot this month. I do have a lot of vacation time because it's my birthday and Christmas and that sort of stuff, so I should have a lot of downtime and a lot of reading time. So as you can see, I went a little insane on this TBR, but hopefully I can manage to get everything done. I'm bringing this novel in from last month's TBR just because I won't have time to finish it this month, and that is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I just really want to start this series just because I've heard nothing but great things. I knew I wouldn't probably have time to finish this month, but I did end up getting to a lot of other books that I didn't really have planned to read either, so maybe if I hadn't read those, I would have been able to manage this, but anyways, it'll be on next month's TBR. We shall see. Hopefully I enjoy it. Another crazy big fantasy novel is The Mask of Mirrors. I have wanted to read this book all year. Honestly, I've wanted to read it since I bought it a while ago. I think I might have time to actually get to it this month in December. If not, I'm gonna be embarrassed because it'll be on next month's, or on like the January TBR. If not, I'm going to be embarrassed because I've had this on so many TBRs and I wanted to read this for so long that I really just need to sit down and do it. It is chunky, but I've heard nothing but great things, so hopefully I enjoy this one as well. And then this one I'm going to force my way through, regardless of whether I'm in the mood for it or not, and that is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. I've also had this on so many TBRs and I've wanted to read this for so long, and I've started it twice and I just never finished it. I just need to do it. I'm going to do it in December. I have plenty of time to read this. Plus, it's one of the books that I wanted to get to in 2022. I'm going to do it. We're going to finish it. I'm going to read it. In the month of December, it's happening. I'm not going to put this on another TBR. So if it doesn't happen, I don't know when it'll happen. The next book I also want to get to is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is another one that was on my reading goals for 2022. I wanted to get this book done. I'm going to do it in the month of December. It's not super long compared to some of the other ones. It's only like 400, 500 pages. I think I could manage this one. I think I'm going to really, really enjoy this one as well, which is why I wanted to read it in the month of December, just because I'm sure I'm going to like all of these books, but I think this is the one that I'm going to like the most. So that is why I wanted to save it for the month of December. When I said it, this TBR was a little crazy. This was part of it. This book right here, it's the Book of Jacobs by Olga, however you pronounce her last name. I talked about this book a little in one of my videos from earlier this month, last month, something like that. It's huge. It's like almost 1,000 pages long. It doesn't look it, but it is almost 1,000 pages long. I have no clue what this is about other than I'm assuming some sort of religion. It won the Nobel Prize, and that to me that means it's got to have great literature or great writing. So I have to read it, even if it's just for the writing. So I have a lot of time off. Do I have enough time to read a 1,000-page novel? We'll see. This is another book that I think I'm gonna love regardless. The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. She is one of my favorite authors. I actually started this book last year at some point. I got like 10 pages in. Yeah, literally 10 pages in. There's my bookmark. From when I bought it at the bookstore. But I have no clue what this is about. I don't really care. I'm gonna read it just because it's her, and hopefully the writing is amazing. I know it will be, but hopefully it will surpass my expectations. And the last book that I want to try to get to in the month of December is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I started this book last year, I want to say, whenever it first came out. I only read like a chapter or two. Just wasn't really in the mood for it, so I returned it back to the library, but I just recently picked it up because I was in the mood to go to the library, which is always a bad thing to do because I have a million books here that I haven't read. But hopefully in the month of December, early December, I can get to this. We'll see. I think I have the audiobook online, so I might just listen along to it. That will help me read it a little bit faster than I would if I just like regularly read it. So we'll see. Hopefully I enjoy it. But yes, those are all the books that I read in the month of November, as well as my very, very ambitious TBR for December. Let me know in the comments down below, what are some books that you want to try to finish before the year ends? We only have like a month left to do it, which is scary. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Bye.